Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, boasts a rich cultural heritage and a vast natural resources. However, its educational system has been plagued by numerous challenges, hindering the country's development and progress. The educational system in Nigeria has been a topic of concern for decades, with many questioning its effectiveness in providing quality education to its citizens. The Nigerian educational system is faced with numerous shortcomings, including underfunding. The Nigerian government allocates a mere 5.6% of its budget to education, far below the recommended 15% by the United Nations. Poor infrastructure. Many schools lack basic amenities such as classrooms, libraries, and laboratories. Teachers shortage. Nigeria faces a significant shortage of qualified teachers, with many schools relying on unqualified staff. High dropout rates. Over 60% of Nigerian children drop out of school before completing their secondary education. So this leads us to this question. Is the educational system in Nigeria bad? The question is a resounding yes. The educational system in Nigeria is struggling to provide quality education to its citizens. The consequences of these are far-reaching, with many Nigerian students lacking the skills and knowledge required to compete in the global economy. Another question is this: should Nigerians be worried about the poor educational system? Absolutely. The poor state of education in Nigeria has a far-reaching implication for the country's development, security, and economy. A poorly educated population is more likely to be plagued by poverty, unemployment, and social unrest. In 2020, Nigerian education budget was a mere 5.6% of the total budget, amounting to $683.2 billion, approximately $1.8 billion. According to UNESCO, Nigeria has one of the highest number of out-of-school children in the world, with over 13 million children aged 5 to 14 not in school. A report by the World Bank estimates that Nigeria's educational system is losing approximately 1.3 trillion naira, approximately $5.3 billion annually due to poor educational outcomes. Nigeria, a nation with a rich cultural heritage and a population of over 200 million people, has a vast potential for sporting excellence. However, despite its numerous achievements in various international competitions, the country's sports system remains underdeveloped, hindering the growth and success of its athletes. Is the sports sector in Nigeria underdeveloped? Yes, the sports sector in Nigeria is underdeveloped, and this is evident in the following points. 1. Lack of infrastructure. Nigeria lacks modern sports facilities, including stadiums, training centers, and equipment. This dearth of infrastructure hinders the development of athletes, as they are unable to train and compete in conducive environments. According to a report by the Nigerian Ministry of Sports, only 20% of the country's sports facilities are in good condition. 2. Inadequate funding. The sports sector in Nigeria is grossly underfunded. The government allocates a meager 1.5% of its budget to sport development, which is insufficient to support the training and participation of athletes in international competitions. In 2020, the Nigerian government allocated a mere 1.2 billion, approximately $3.2 million to sports development. Poor management. The sports sector in Nigeria is plagued by poor management, which has led to corruption, mismanagement of funds, and a lack of accountability. This has resulted in the country's failure to host several international sporting events, including the 2023 African Cup of Nations. Now I'll give you some facts and figures. Nigeria has won a total of 25 Olympic medals since its debut in 1952, with only 2 gold medals. The country has not hosted a major international sporting event since the 2009 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. According to a report by the International Olympic Committee, Nigeria ranks 114th in the world in terms of sports infrastructure. Should upcoming athletes or sports persons still have hope of making it? Despite the challenges facing the sports sector in Nigeria, upcoming athletes should still have hope of making it. There are several examples of Nigerian athletes who have achieved success despite the odds, such as Hakeem Olajuwon, a professional basketball player who won an Olympic gold medal and was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. In conclusion, the sports sector in Nigeria is underdeveloped, but it's not beyond redemption. With a concerted effort from the government, private sector, and sports stakeholders, the countries can unlock the potential of its athletes and become a force to be reckoned with in international sports. By investigating in infrastructure, increasing funding, and improving management, Nigeria can produce world-class athletes and host international sporting events. The time to act is now, and the future of Nigerian sports depends on it. Thank you. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine between Ukrainian government forces and Russian-backed separatists has resulted in thousands of deaths, injuries, and displacement of civilians. The international community has been vocal in condemning Russia's actions, but a united response is crucial to ending the conflict and maintaining global security. Is the international community doing enough to address the Ukraine conflict, or should it take a more decisive stance against the Russian aggression? International unity is vital in addressing the Ukraine conflict for the following reasons. 1. Deterrent effect. A united international front can deter Russia from further aggression, as it would face significant diplomatic and economic consequences. In 2014, international sanctions were imposed on Russia following its annexation of Crimea, resulting in a 2.8% decline in Russia's GDP. Legitimacy and credibility. A collective response for the international community turns legitimacy and credibility to Ukraine's cause, emphasizing that Russia's actions are unacceptable. The United Nations General Assembly has passed several resolutions condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine, with an average of 100 countries voting in favor. 3. Coordination of efforts. International unity facilitates the coordination of efforts in providing humanitarian aid, military assistance, and diplomatic support to Ukraine. Since 2014, the international community has provided over $1.5 billion in humanitarian aid to Ukraine. 4. Global security. The conflict in Ukraine has implications for global security, as it challenges the international order and the principles of national security sovereignty. A united response from the international community is essential in maintaining the rules-based international system. According to the UN, over 13,000 people have been killed and 30,000 injured in the conflict since 2014. The conflict has displaced over 1.5 million civilians, with 3.5 million in need of humanitarian assistance. In 2022, the international community imposed sanctions on Russia following its invasion of Ukraine, resulting in a 10% decline in Russia's stock market. A survey by the Pew Research Center found that 70% of Ukrainians believe that international support is essential to resolving the conflict. The conflict has resulted in a significant decline in Ukraine's economy, with a GDP decline of over 20% since 2014. In conclusion, international unity is crucial in condemning the Russian aggression in Ukraine and resolving the conflict. A collective response from the global community can deter further aggression, lend legitimacy to Ukraine's cause, facilitate coordination of efforts, and maintain global security. The international community must prioritize a united response to address the conflict in Ukraine and prevent further conflicts. The future of Ukraine and global stability depends on it. Thank you.